Welcome to Electrified. It's your host, Dylan Loomis. Quick shout out to my newest patrons, Joachim H. and Michael L. Thank you guys for choosing to support the channel. First up today, absolutely love this chart from Gary Black and the Future Fund from their webinar the other day. The white line is Tesla stock price dating back to 2020, and the red line is going to be Tesla's fiscal year 2022 earnings per share estimate over that same time frame. As you can see, at the most recent time, it's currently sitting at $11.99 per share. And just 1 year ago, Tesla's 2022 EPS estimate was $6.47, or from where it stands today, it's currently up 85%, so being revised upward. However, I think you know where I'm going with this. You see this discrepancy here between the current stock price and Tesla's 2022 EPS estimates. Huge gap. Where has that happened before? Looking back, well, it hasn't. What does that mean? Opportunity, just as always, be patient, but capitalize on these opportunities. And remember, if the Bloomberg estimate is currently $11.99, if you take Q1 numbers and just annualize it, whether GAAP or non-GAAP, that's gonna already put you right in that 12 neighborhood. And yes, Q2 might be a little lower, but looking at Q3 and Q4, I think there's a decent amount of upside for Tesla to beat these estimates. Now, this is just an anecdote from I Like Piano Black on Twitter, but they're showing their Model 3 with 300,000 miles, and all they had to replace was a suspension. They do mention 20% battery degradation, but don't really share where they're getting that. Are they just calculating the estimated range by the original EPA estimate? Because we know that's not going to be the most accurate way to do it. However, point here is that yes, there are some Teslas out there with this type of mileage that haven't needed a new battery pack and have held up very well. Marco RP, who follows new Supercharger locations, shared this new Stack Charge company, apparently building this new facility with 32 Superchargers and 8 DC fast chargers. So I did a little digging. So clearly this is a brand new startup type of company, and the website basically has no information. Effectively, I wasn't able to find anything about Tesla or Superchargers, so I'm not positive where Marco got that information. So a company to watch, but this first location is set to be right between Las Vegas and Los Angeles right here. This tweet from Elon is crucial for us Tesla investors to remember for the future. He says, "I never wanted to be CEO. Running companies hurts my heart, but I don't see any other way to bring technology and design to fruition." So my personal belief is that if Elon does step down from his official role at Tesla sometime this decade, he will then have a way for maybe the first time to actually work on these technologies and designs behind the scenes, because Tesla will be so Elonized when it comes to the culture. And by that time, whenever it may come, Tesla will be such a beast of a company that Elon can then focus on what he wants to focus on, actual engineering. Here's Elon with a subtle AI flex saying, "We're using more GPTs or generative pre-trained transformers as they now run natively on Tesla Trip chip, which is just a chip on Tesla's Hardware 3 FSD computer, instead of needing to do a round trip to the GPU." Now, the short takeaway here is what Tesla is doing is going to reduce the latency and improve the efficiency. And Elon said yes to this comment. The Trip chip is the AI chip that eliminates the need for an external GPU. The Trip chip will perform AI computation, cutting down the latency to and from the GPU, and the Trip chip is built for heavy-duty AI workloads. Must be a huge improvement compared to NB-SB on MB latency, right, Elon? This right here could either be North Bridge, South Bridge on the motherboard, dealing with communication, or it could be narrow bandwidth, switch port bandwidth, dealing with latency. So I can't confirm for sure either way. And Karpathy has mentioned this before, saying a GPT-like transformer is now predicting the lanes and their connectivity. You may have heard of GPT-3, which is OpenAI's third generation of this GPT. It's basically a neural network deep learning model that will encode and decode human text. So you can feed in an article, let's say, and then it'll spit out a summary of that article, or you can feed it part of a sentence and then it will predict the rest of that sentence. Now, to be clear, I'm very confident Tesla is not actually using GPT-3. They're just using their own version of one of these generative pre-trained transformers. And if any of you actual machine learning experts can translate this a bit better than I have, do so in the comments. I'll go through and pin one if people seem to agree that it is accurate. So Thank you in advance. Moving on, Kelvin Yang says Tesla Shanghai factory to end the closed loop production system and resume the normal 3 shifts of work soon. We did see articles talking about June 10th for that date, but Kelvin didn't share a date for his update. No surprises here, as IG Metall is looking to use this Elon work-at-home situation to swoop in and try to win over more of the employees at Giga Berlin. IG Metall's district leader says whoever does not agree with such one-sided demands and wants to stand against them has the power of unions behind them in Germany as per law. Employees at Giga Berlin did elect 19 people to its first workers' council back in February, but remember, a workers' council is not the same thing as a union. And in Germany, there are currently no laws enshrining a right to work from home, but the labor ministry is working on policies that would increase flexibility for workers. So once again, just another thread to keep an eye on. We get an update in the ongoing saga of USPS trying to buy its next generation delivery vehicles. What happened is in April, there were 16 states, 4 environmental groups, and the UAW who filed a lawsuit against USPS for basically looking to buy mostly gas vehicles for these new generation vehicles. So now USPS is looking to change its course. Based on the pushback alone, basically now USPS looking to buy at least 10% EVs. Postal Service is exploring accelerating production of that initial 10,000 BEV order toward the front and anticipates taking advantage of the flexibility built into the contract with Oshkosh to increase the number of BEVs purchased in the initial delivery order. USPS expecting to receive about 5,000 next-gen vehicles in 2023. Hopefully, as they say, most of these are EVs, and about 21,000 annually after that. Here we have Ford making some moves and speaking the truth, looking to add about 6,200 union jobs in the Midwest as it revamps 3 factories to build new EVs and yes, some more gas-powered models. The $3.7 billion will go toward retooling plants and building a new commercial electric vehicle and all new versions of the gas-powered Mustang and Ford Ranger. And of course, Ford looking to increase production of the F-150 Lightning. No word on what this new commercial EV will be, but production should begin mid-decade at an existing plant in Ohio. And in a big win for the union, around 3,000 temporary factory employees will be made full-time hourly ahead of a scheduled negotiation with the UAW. They will get pay raises and healthcare benefits immediately. Now, this is out of the ordinary, as most of the time these automakers don't give concessions until the renewal process comes up, which for Ford and the UAW isn't until September 2023. So maybe Ford looking to build some goodwill with the UAW, as there's been some fears that Ford's new EV factories in Kentucky and Tennessee will not be union plants. And Jim Farley gave us some new insight, saying he expects the cost of building EVs to fall in the coming years, low enough to sell some EVs, like now the Bolt, in the $25,000 range. He noted the Mustang Mach-E starts around $45K, but the battery pack alone costs Ford $18,000 to build. And perhaps most importantly, he says there's going to be a huge price war. And guess who has the most ammo in a price war like this? The company with the highest margins, and yes, we already know who that is. Tesla. And Farley said he expects to see industry consolidation happen at nearly every level in the coming years, and that Chinese companies could be among the big winners. No doubt about it, we're going to see a very large consolidation. He said, I just don't see the addressable market these companies are going after being big enough to justify the capital they're spending. I would guess he's referring to companies like Rivian and Lucid. He said Chinese EV makers are poised to make big gains in the North American market. Many players in the Chinese market have very low EV manufacturing costs and have not yet looked into export. There's a shakeout coming, he said. I feel like that shakeout is going to favor many of the Chinese new players. And lastly, this right here is going to be the massive war taking place over the next few years. He says we've got to go to non-negotiated price. We've got to go to 100% online, no inventory at dealerships. It goes directly to the customer, 100% remote pickup and delivery. I think our dealers can do it, he says, but the standards are going to be brutal. They're going to be very different than they are today. I personally think this is part of why Ford is splitting up its divisions into the Model E and Ford Blue, Model E being for EVs. This might give them a workaround, saying that Model E, this new division, can have a different type of relationship with the dealership network, but you better believe there's going to be many lawsuits in the years to come, and there's plenty of political money backing these lawsuits and dealerships. Ford estimates that its distribution model costs about $2,000 more per vehicle than Tesla's non-dealer approach. And he says, if you ever see Ford Motor Company doing a Super Bowl ad on our electric vehicles, sell the stock. He said, our model is messed up. We spend $600 or $700 on the vehicle to promote it, and we spend nothing post-warranty on the customer experience. So this is all great because Farley clearly gets it. He knows where Ford needs to go. The problem is, can he take them there, because there's so much entrenched bureaucracy and political money, as I said, behind the dealerships, and in this legacy system, it's going to be a wild ride. And he said Ford has to be radical on its quality and to reduce the prices of the batteries, all of which will require that the company hire top talent from the likes of Apple and Tesla, even if they make 10 times what I do. So here you have it, Jim Farley saying consolidation and shakeups and price wars and dealership battles all are about to happen. He said the focus will probably be more on mergers than joint ventures, because he said partnerships are hard. We've been in business for 118 years and we probably have one partnership that worked really well. So all I have to say, not glossing over all of the job loss and pain that will ensue from this revolution and upcoming battles. However, things are definitely heating up and it's going to be incredibly exciting to watch, and ultimately in the end, once again, the customer will win, and there's going to be plenty of shakeup in the next few years. And not to get all in my feels here, but I just have to say I'm so incredibly grateful to be here covering this revolution with you guys, the community. I'm truly so grateful. So on that note, please take a second to like the video if you did. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and a huge thank you to all of my Patreon supporters.